In this week's Torah portion, Chai Sarah, we learn about Avram finding a burial plot for his wife Sarah and finding a wife for his son Isaac. Let's explore it together. Shalom, my friends. This is the Cave of with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. At the end of last week's Torah portion, we learned about what's called in Hebrew Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac, where God tells Avram in the 10th and last test that he gives him to take his son Isaac, who he waited so long for, his entire life for, to have with Sarah, and to take him and to bind him and to offer him up as a sacrifice on an altar. And Avram, in his pure and strong, crystal clear faith, does exactly that, or at least takes the steps towards that. And in the last second, we know an angel of God comes and says, "No, Abraham," as Abraham had his hand up with a knife over his son. And the angel of God said, "No, this is not what God wants. God was just testing you to see if you had pure and strong faith, which you clearly do." Right? God, of course, would never, ever want you to kill your son. Never, ever would want us to kill our children. And so this is the end of last week's Torah portion. And this week's Torah portion, we learn that Sarah dies. And we learn in the oral tradition of Judaism that she died because she heard about what happened. Just upon hearing the fact that her son was almost killed was too much for her. It took her soul flew out of her body, and she died just upon hearing the news that this almost happened. And this showed her deep and incredible love for her son. Also, she waited her entire life to have him. So this is how the Torah portion begins. Sarah dies. She leaves this world after over 100 years living in this world, and Avram is looking for a burial plot for her, and he chooses Hebron. He chooses Kiryat Arba, Hebron, which is about 40-minute drive, 30-minute, maybe even 25-minute drive south of Jerusalem. And this is the place where he knows he wants to bury Sarah. There's all kinds of stories about it. Why this place? How does he know this place? Well, according to Jewish tradition, this is the place where Adam and Eve are buried. And this is also the entrance to the Garden of Eden. Again, many, many interesting stories and tales told about this place. And one of the stories that's told is that Avram would frequent this place and he would pray there. And one day he saw light coming out of this cave, and he knew that this was the place. This was a very special place. And eventually, when Sarah died, he knew this is the place where he wanted to bury Sarah. And he buys the field in which this field is located in order to make it his own. That's a very powerful thing because there's some negotiations going on with the people who live there, the local people. He buys it for a lot of money, and it becomes his. And this is the first time. This is the first recorded moment of a Jew buying land in the land of Israel. Very, very powerful thing, very, very special thing. And that's what connects the area, the city, the town of Hebron so strongly to the Jewish people because it goes back thousands of years to the time that the first Jew lived. And that first Jew, Avram, bought that land not only for his wife, but for all the Jewish people and all the generations afterwards as well. And so he buys the field, he buries Sarah in the cave. Again, in this cave is buried Adam and Eve, and it's called Ma'at Machpelah. Right, Kiryat Arba means village of the four. Ma'at Machpelah means the cave of the couples. And it's because eventually four couples will be buried there. Adam and Eve were first, of course. Sarah was then buried there. Avram will be buried there, followed by Isaac and Rebekah. And then finally, Jacob and Leah will be buried there as well. And that's why to this day, this is a very holy site, a very special place to visit, to be, to pray. That's why Jews are there literally every single day praying, especially on holidays. So that's one part that we learned about in this week's Torah portion. Avram finding a burial plot for his wife Sarah. He then realizes right after this, he's like, wow, he's like 37 years old. I almost killed him. I need to find a wife for him, right? So that there is a future, both for him and for the Jewish people. And he sends his servant Eliezer back to where he came from, Haran, to look for a wife for Isaac, because he did not want Isaac marrying the woman from the land of Canaan. He believed, and rightfully so, that they were steeped in immorality and in all kinds of ways that were completely opposite to the way that Avram was living and teaching his son to live the way that he wanted to bring into the world. So he sends Eliezer back to Haran, and he goes. And Eliezer basically gets there, and he puts up a prayer to God, and he says, "Please let me be successful for my master Avram. Give me a sign. Give me a sign, of who this woman is for my master's son Isaac." Right? And he basically is very, very specific. He says, "Whoever I go up to, and I ask, can I have some water? Basically coming off of this big journey." And she gives me water, but not only that, she also gives my animals water. That's the woman. That is a sign that this is the woman for Isaac. And he does exactly that. As soon as he finishes saying this prayer, he's at a water hole. A woman shows up, and he goes over to her. He notices something special about her, and asks for water. And she goes and draws water from the well, gives it to him, and then says, "Let me bring you water for your animals as well." Instantly, immediately, this prayer is answered, this sign is fulfilled, and Eliezer knows that this is the woman for Isaac, and he showers her with gifts that he had brought from Abraham in order to show his seriousness, right, and to show his thanks for agreeing to be the wife of his master. I'm sorry, the son of his master, right, Isaac. And this is it's a beautiful story. It's the beginning of a love story, but it really shows what was it about Rebecca, that allowed her to merit to be Isaac's wife, right? The wife of Abraham's son, and it's her kindness. It's her kindness. It's her awareness. She said, "Of course I'll give you water." That's showing her kindness, and then she goes above and beyond. Right, with her kindness, she sees that he has animals. She's aware. She takes in her surroundings, right? And looks around for what other people or things need her help as well. Says, I'll also give you your animals. I'll give your animals water as well. Right? So her kindness was spreading beyond just him. And that's exactly the sign. That's the kind of person that Eliezer wanted for Isaac, his master's son. And that's the kind of person that the Jewish people needed in these first generations, right? To really set the stage and to lay out the path of what kind of people we are meant to be in this world, right? To be kind people, to look for all kinds of opportunities and different ways to help people in this world in order to make this world a better place. All the best, my friends, and be well.